Hey guys, it's Dan and Meg. We're here at the barn. It's Wednesday afternoon, and we had a few minutes, so we wanted to do a video. Wanted to do a podcast. Today we're going to talk about an expanded awareness, talking about why it's important to keep learning and how we grow from that. Megan is currently finishing up college to be an educator, and she's been working on that goal really her whole life. And it's already becoming something truly beautiful. She's been talking about opening her own school and what that might look like for the future. Meg, you want to talk about why you decided to be a teacher? Or what you like day to day about the process of becoming a more expanded awareness, or the joy that you feel when you elevate your consciousness or your existence. Some of that you want to talk about any of that?
Well, that's what I'll talk about. But so first you asked why I want to be a teacher. So because I think that when you're a teacher, you have just countless opportunities to really make a difference. And I think school is popularly known as something that you just have to do and something that you don't really enjoy doing. But I think that it can be something that people and kids look forward to, and they really grow and learn a lot. I think the most important thing to school is just the teachers and who they are and how they teach and what kind of values they instill in their kids and their students. So, yeah.
Daily transformation, daily growth, daily elevation.
Yep.
Momentum of an elevated awareness, an ongoing upgrade.
Yeah. Teaching is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Something that's really cool about young children is they are not divided from their truth. And I think that's why so many people love being around young children, is because they remember their truth when they're around young children.
I think teachers probably learn more than they teach when they're around the kids all day.
Yeah. Isn't it incredible how it works that way if you allow it to? So when you open your awareness up to all that they have to teach, it's a mutually beneficial interaction. It's a mutual growth.
Key word was when you allow it to.
Yeah.
So to recognize that they have as much power to teach you, and then to allow it.
Absolutely. That's something I've been saying about your children since you were very little, is that you teach us as parents as much, if not more, than we teach you. That's some powerful stuff.
It's crazy how that works.
Yeah. The synergy back and forth, the communication, the honesty, and the growth from all of it. The growth from the truth, from the love, is profound. Just on a day-to-day or a moment-to-moment basis.
So why do you think it is that when we start putting up the barriers?
Why do we?
Yeah. What do you think makes that happen?
The things that we learn from the television, from the news, from the newspapers, from the internet, that show us that we need to protect ourselves. That training of division in all aspects of life. So if you look at government, for example, all of government has been divided. The aisle, or the separation between the people, has never worked. And
it shouldn't work.
It doesn't work. It just simply does not work, because we are not a divided people. And through meditation, you can easily see that we are all connected. through interaction, you can easily see that we're all connected.
Yeah, I was going to say, just by surrounding yourself.
Through education, you can easily see that we are all directly connected. So there are thousands of ways that we can all see this. But to open yourself up, open your consciousness and awareness up to the growth in each moment, propels you into a new existence. And these things, when you let go of the challenges, let go of the divisional training because you've been forced to see who you are, like I have. Mom and I were talking earlier about how bad my pain used to be. Like, I used to have to grab a hold of her shoulders and she would walk me to the bathroom and take like a half-inch step at a time. It would take forever to get to the bathroom. And through an elevated awareness, through learning, and really, really hard life lessons, I was able to open myself up to my truth. I was finally able to find myself. And speaking through that truth and interacting with others in that love has created a synergy in our lives, has created a way of learning that is always expanding and always opening up to new truths and new paths.
The other day you said something that was really cool. You said that you learned that you had to honor your light. And I don't know, I think like when people are going through something that's difficult or when they're anxious about something, it's just like it's almost, so like you were saying, we're taught that it's unnatural to just forget about it and just move on.
We're taught to limit our beliefs. We're taught to minimize our accomplishments. We're taught to minimize our existence, our awareness.
But that's not true when, like, that's when you're being taught that, and it's not the real truth by how it makes you feel. So, like, when you're able to finally let go, and when you realize that you aren't the things that's holding you back, it feels good because that's what is true, and that's what is right.
Yes, so we attract who and what we are. No matter, there is no choice involved there. We just simply attract our way of being.
Yeah.
We attract our chosen momentum. So in my case, I was ultimately just completely and totally broken and had to let go that way. But people don't have to be completely and totally broken. They don't have to transition into the non-physical and then be brought back to life in order to see. We don't have to die in order to experience relief and experience our truth, ourselves. We can just simply open ourselves up to it. We're doing a video. Come on down and join us. Podcast. It's a good one.
Dennis is coming to talk now.
So when we talk about barriers around the heart, we're talking about us and our training, the things that we've learned throughout our lives, causing us to build barriers. And those barriers around our hearts prevent us from ever really experiencing the real us. But when we release all of that resistance, and we continually allow that ego to dissolve, we are continually opened up into our truth. And it's, for me at first, it was like a blossoming flower, sort of like 1 or 2 or 3 petals at a time, like these different petals would be synergies or recognition of choices of my attraction, of my vibration. But then it opened up into the universe. And I don't really know how to explain that. It was a flower that was blossoming, and then it opened up into so much more. My awareness became oneness. Similar to the law of attraction, there is a law of oneness.
Which means what?
Which means that we are all connected at every level. At the level of energy, at the atomic level of our atoms. All of those atoms were connected at one point and broke apart into all there is. So we are connected to all there is in this physical matter. We're connected to all there is on a spiritual level with our higher selves. On an energy level, on every level, through the living water we're connected. Through our interaction, our words, our choices. There is no division. Division is fake. It's like a fable. It's a lie. But it's a lie that we had to allow. Simply, it's similar to allowing the resistance to dissolve. So when we choose our oneness, we choose an elevated consciousness, we choose to be happy, to be in our truth, in our joy, in our co-creative process, in appreciation, in our highest vibration. We begin to attract those things. And the longer we keep these things going, the more we attract those things. And if we are in that elevated state or oneness consciousness, when we are presented with challenges, we immediately see them as growth momentum. So, for instance, challenges with anything, it doesn't really matter if it's a family challenge or a challenge that you're having with a pet or a school or an education system, or like currently the whole entire state is having a challenge, many challenges on just about every level. But the one that I've been talking about lately is our cellular health and balance, because that's something I focused on for many years. And I've been talking about how the darkness has illuminated itself, has literally dissolved itself through its own progression. So in its progression, it has highlighted the things that are bad for Mainers. And it has created policy that's really impactful on Mainers in a very harmful way. And when they have created policy like this, they've also created the self-destruction. They've created a certainty that organization can no longer continue, because the synergy of Mainers comes first. The synergy of our children, the synergy of our elders, the synergy of our connection to nature. These things cannot be restricted, cannot be regulated, because in doing so we regulate our access to cellular health and balance. And I've said this a bunch of times, but when our government decided to take the human plant from the people 100 years ago, it then became ours. And since then, they've never had the right to regulate our access to it. They put people in cages over it and do some really sad things. But when you read the 50,000 medical studies at National Institute of Health, it explains that it's the most beneficial nutrition on earth. And when you open yourself up to the education that these medical studies offer, and you see that it has been proven to help with over 700 different diseases, and you open yourself up to the fact that you are nature, and we are directly connected to all of nature, we realize that we can no longer restrict our access to nature, because that is restricting access to cellular health and balance. And we can't have cellular health and balance for society, for our families, for humanity, when we restrict access to nature. And most importantly, the most beneficial plants in all of nature. That's foolishness. And we all know why they did it in the past, and we all know why they're doing what they're doing now. But through education and through communication, why? Money. Control. There's bigger machines that control all of this. For example, big pharma, or big liquor, or, there are so many different corporations that align with cannabis being illegal. But those same corporations have caused the problems that we have in our government. They've caused the problems, they've caused all of these problems. They've caused cannabis, the human plant, to be misunderstood across the world, and especially in our country. They are well aware of the science now, because people like us have shared it with them. The lawmakers, we've shared it with them. Too many times to count. However, the corporate interests that really run our democracy won't allow for us to find these solutions or to implement these solutions, these natural solutions that are part of us. Because if they did, our need for their so-called chemical medicines would be reduced to the point where we would no longer have an opioid crisis. We would no longer have clinical endocannabinoid deficiency, which is a malnourishment of our entire cellular structure, of our entire cellular signaling system. It's such a big picture that is very, very difficult to explain to people. But with a little bit of searching, a little bit of time spent in elevating consciousness, elevating awareness, we can see our truth in any situation. And I would like to help people open their awareness to those things. And we are currently, as a family, working to create a system of evolution, a system of elevated consciousness, trying to create a retreat, a healing retreat.
What good do you think will come from them trying to put restrictions on everything? What good things can come from it?
Good things from restricting it the way they're trying to.
No, just from them trying to do it, not from it actually happening. So I don't think it will happen. I think that this will open a lot of people's eyes and give an opportunity for people to learn more and see the bad things that the government's trying to do with a lot of people's medicine.
Yeah, so that's exactly the way that I see it. I see it as a blessing, because OMP, Office of Marijuana Policy, within the state of Maine, has gone so far against the people's needs that they need to be eliminated. They need to be completely and totally dissolved immediately, and for dozens of reasons. This latest latest proposal, report, policy is just the most recent of the contrast. They've been doing this type of thing since they started, which is that in that is the blessing. The blessing is that we see exactly what we don't want. That level of contrast has offered each of us an opportunity to say, thank you very, very much. Because in your inability to see what Mainers truly need, we get to see. We get to choose what happens from here on.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. And to answer from the perspective of the question that I thought you were asking, what good can happen from them regulating it and pushing this regulation through? Absolutely no good. No good whatsoever. Unless they're trying to hand it over to a major corporation or these corporations that don't want it, like pharma, big tobacco, whatever it is. It doesn't matter where they're going with it. There is no good that could come from their direction, which is yet another reason that it's such a blessing. Because as soon as we start to recognize the contrast within government, within state government, town government, national government, as soon as we recognize that contrast as a blessing and start to move forward with our collective solutions, we've really started to create our democracy. We've really started to co-create our natural rights, our solutions, because each of us hold solutions to these challenges that we're all faced with every day. And the problem is that citizens are often ignored. Often or all the time. I guess you can't say 100% of the time, but it's very close to that number, that the citizens are ignored. And it's not okay that we're losing more people to opioid crisis. It's not okay that we have science out there that explains what's happening with the natural support of our bodies, and our people in office still aren't talking about that. Still. We've all experienced this incredible relief as a state. Wouldn't you think that a few of them would just come out in the public and be honest?
Yeah, it's probably like the number one thing that I can think of that would only let people see is for people that don't fit the stigma of cannabis to come out and say how it's helped them and helped change their lives.
Well, that's a really good point, Meg. Mom and Dad were talking about that yesterday. We're not just the soccer mom and dad. We're talking soccer, football mom and dad, tennis mom and dad, baseball mom and dad, golf,
Hockey, track, all of it.
all of it. Track, so many different cheerleaders, so many different things. The truth is, Meg, that it doesn't matter where you're coming from in life. We each have a different existence and a different awareness and a different truth, and that's beautiful, because from all of those different life lessons, we have the solutions we all need. Does that even go along with what you were saying?
Yeah.
You want to talk about it more? I forget what it was that you said.
I'm just talking about how I don't know, I was just talking about how like nowadays I don't know, I feel like if I can like predict the future, I can see in like 3 to 5 years, I feel like cannabis could be something that's grown in every single garden at every single home. I know that I can just feel that there's going to be like a big shift about it. I don't know why, and I think that like nowadays, like in high school, I would have been so scared to even have a conversation with somebody about it. But now I feel like people like they're asking me about it and they're bringing it up with me because it's becoming.
Because the wave within the state, it started out as the smallest.
It started out as just being bad to even talk about.
Yeah.
Like bad to even say the word cannabis.
Yeah. And now everybody wants to know.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah. That's why they want to regulate it so badly and put some regulations against it.
Every time, for the last couple of years, every time I go to the State House, I don't want to talk about medical cannabis, or I will talk about medical cannabis, but I never want to talk about recreational cannabis because it's not a thing. It's a fake word. There's no such thing as recreational use of nutrition. Okay, so I've got my recreational carrots here, and I'm going to use them recreationally. No, I don't think so. So
just for a snack instead of a meal.
So what I try to talk about with people is the nutritional benefit of the plant. And when we use the plant as a raw food, it's more beneficial than all other foods. And it's so powerful nutritionally that when we mix it with other foods, it makes those other foods more beneficial for our bodies. That's how beneficial cannabis is. The synergy between this plant and all other plants is amplified when we put it in our bodies. So we have all of these different challenges that are going on all over the state that everybody knows about. We have problems with heroin, problems with crack, problems with alcohol, problems with almost all pharmaceutical drugs. We have problems with meth. We have problems with, I'll forget some of them, but it doesn't matter. All of these things, we have problems with so much more. But the reality is, and it's to the point where all of these people are dying from these things. Cannabis helps people achieve and retain a far better quality of life, and they want to create a program that restricts our access to it. And then we have all of these problems with all of these other substances, major problems, people dying every day. And they create no systems of helping our communities cope with these challenges that were often created at the doctor's office and from the pharmacies. That's really what we're dealing with here. Just on the.
I think everybody sees that. I think that more than ever before, their eyes are open, and that's why they feel the rush to really put these regulations with everything, because they know that the truth's coming out.
Yeah. And to limit families like ours, or to prevent families like ours from growing our business in every way possible. They won't let us open a bank account. They won't let us do all kinds of things. I mean, they send investigators that cause PTSD. There's so many different facets to this. They allow towns to discriminate against families like ours. They allow towns to say that we can't sell it to the public because of this money grab of the people. It's not okay for them to just grab the people's hard-earned money either. Like, to decide that only these out-of-state entities can come in and have recreational businesses. A, there is no such thing as recreational cannabis. B, none of them should get a license before or be able to operate before a Mainer can. So every single Mainer, every single one of these 3,000 Mainers that have been working in this field for many years, all of these people come before these out-of-staters. And from our family's perception, all of these family businesses can now sell cannabis products to the public as long as they are 21 or over. Because any other path is discrimination. In some forms, it's oppression. It's definitely oppressing our access to nature and to cellular health and wellness. It's oppressing us as a community in our ability to grow with this elevated way of being and with this hope that we all now experience. They're preventing all of it. They're preventing the synergy of all of it from happening. And as a community, as a state, we need to end that sort of work permanently. We need to dissolve all of that sort of backwards. Let's just call it what it is. We need to end the destruction of our communities. We need to support the growth and the love and the compassion and the neighbor-to-neighbor interaction and the support of our entire system, our entire state, our ecosystem, our farms, our healthcare, our education, all of it. Yeah. Would you agree with all of that?
Yeah. They're restricting people's healing and people learning the truth.
But that doesn't matter because they aren't the people.
Yeah.
They've just lost their way because that's the way of our current democracy. And that's all dissolving as we speak. Know that because it is. Because as we grow, we co-create a new existence every day. And together, doesn't matter if there's, a few hundred, a few 100,000, a few 100 million, but together, we co-create our harmony because we've lived the contrast for so long. We've been given so many examples of what we don't want that it has illuminated what we need and what we want in every family. And that's such a beautiful blessing.
So, like I said, I predict that in like 3 to 5 years, or like 2 to 3 years even, that everyone's gonna be growing cannabis and using it as a natural preventative and as medicine for something that might be wrong, and growing it in their gardens and everything. I think everyone will be doing it. What do you think's gonna happen in 2 to 3 years?
I think it's going to be just that, but I think it's exactly that. But I also think that, like, while we've been learning about cannabis for the last, 10 years or so, we've also been learning about spirituality. And in our ability to talk to neighbors on a daily basis, on a regular basis, we were able to communicate how people can achieve and retain a far better quality of life with nature in a very short time. Sometimes the first visit, sometimes within a matter of weeks or two, a week or two. And when I explained it to people, it was like, it took me 4 years to get this level of relief for myself and for my family. And then we started sharing that relief with everyone else. 4 years of research and experiments and so many different experiments in the kitchen, in the lab, in the grow room, and different heat settings in the kitchen, so many different things. Different types of cannabis, creating our own genetics for years and years. Eventually, we created a system that helped people achieve and retain that quality of life very, very quickly. And in the last 10 years or so, we've also been on a quest, and in the last 5 years, a very just a completely incredible quest, spirituality, and connection to who we truly are and our truth, and searching all of the teachings of all of humanity throughout time, and having this elevated consciousness, this opened awareness, open-hearted awareness, has given each of us, all of our family members, an opportunity to do it again, except with a new integrated process. So when we get to spend a little time with neighbors, with family members, we get to share these tools of elevation, these tools of evolution with all of our brothers and sisters. The healing, the peace, the honoring, the appreciation, the love, release of resistance and barriers, and how to stand in our truth, how to find our truth, how to find ourselves, how to connect to all that we are. An expanded existence and expanded awareness. All of that. Now we are combining all of these things and many, many other natural healing modalities into one synergy that is going to elevate anyone who wishes to become part of it. And the really cool part is that we do it together. So it's not me elevating your consciousness. It's not me showing somebody the path. It's not me doing anything. It's like we as a family have been through this, and we've found tools to help us get there and to help us stay there and to continually release the ego and to continually grow in our truth. And these are the things that we share. And in doing so, we continue on our path of helping others, helping all of our family achieve and retain a far better quality of life. The coolest part is that it has opened up into a much, much bigger circle, much, much bigger energy field. It's beautiful. What do you want to say about our spiritual growth?
Thank you very much. Said it all.
No, you're always enlightening us, Meg. You're always sharing your perception, which elevates everything. It elevates the conversation, it elevates our momentum, it elevates our awareness.
I guess probably the biggest and newest thing lately that I've learned is it's hard to say. I don't know, just to know that, like, I'm gonna think how to say it.
I think I can feel what you're trying to say.
What?
So in the process of co-creating our elevated existence, our manifestations, whatever they are, we get to celebrate and co-create in that process. And as we co-create in that process and we celebrate in that process, we get to grow through each of those pieces, creating a wider and broader momentum, smoother and ever-expanding
circle
and manifestation and
yeah.
toroid and existence.
It's just, I feel like the more you learn about spirituality, the more peace you have with yourself and your surroundings. I think that, like, for me, like, I'm like more of a reserved kind of person. So I feel like you know that you're learning a lot and that you're on the right path is like when you're doing things that normally you would feel anxious about, but like you just feel so much peace about it, because I think spirituality is just confidence in what you already know.
It's alignment with your truth.
Yeah.
It's alignment with
exactly.
who you are and what you are. Absolutely.
Yeah. And like one example I have is like things that I feel like normally it's really easy for me to have an anxious heart, like because I just worry about things. I want everything to always happen like really good and smoothly for everybody. And so like when things like get a little bit like unsure, it's normally I would like resort to just being anxious and then just try and control it and try and figure it out as fast as I can. But like lately it's just like I just like it doesn't even get to me. I just like let it go because I know it's gonna work out. And this it's staying still right now isn't a bad thing. It's just like it's just a season of it. It's just on its way to becoming.
The recognition and the celebration of that ease and flow, which is what you were just saying, attracts more ease and flow.
Yeah.
And the synergy of that ease and flow is you. That's your truth.
Yeah. I think like people we're kind of like taught that it's normal to feel doubt and worry and anxious, but the normal thing, but it's not, and that's why it feels so badly. But the normal thing is knowing that it's going to work out and trusting that like everything is good, even if it's hard, it's still good.
Yeah.
That's the normal thing, and just like training your mind to know that and believe that is where it's really important.
That's really important what you just said. The training should come from your truth and not from the fake division all around us. Like anybody can watch the news and see that it's the narrative. Like it's it's really sad, and that will change soon.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of going over to it and